What happens when forensic science, ancient scripture, and advanced statistical analytics point to the exact same reality? This is the story of a convergent evidentiary case. It is not a hypothesis waiting for validation. It is a documented record of a transphysical event, preserved on linen, encoded in text, and confirmed by mathematics. The investigation rests on 3 independent witnesses, fulfilling the ancient Torah standard of 2 or 3 testimonies. Together, they tell a complete story of resurrection. It begins with the Shroud of Turin, a 14 by 3.5 foot linen cloth bearing the faint, sepia-toned photographic negative of a crucified man. For decades, the scientific community has studied its anomalies. The coloration is confined to the topmost 200 nanometers of the linen fibers. There are no pigments, no dyes, no inks, and no brushstrokes. The image was formed by a photochemical oxidation of the cellulose, a process that requires an immense burst of vacuum ultraviolet radiation. To color the entire surface instantaneously, physics calculations show it would require 34 terawatts of power delivered in less than 50 nanoseconds. That is more energy than all modern ultraviolet sources combined, released in a fraction of a microsecond. No dead human body can produce this naturally. Yet the shroud bears it. The cloth also contains 3-dimensional spatial data. When mapped by imaging algorithms, the intensity of the image corresponds precisely to the distance between the fabric and the body. This proves the radiation was highly directional and vertically collimated. Recent statistical analysis by independent researchers confirms that nearly 98.4% of the image variance is explained by a single formation mechanism, ruling out any multi-step artistic process. Even the controversial 1988 radiocarbon dating now serves as forensic evidence. Nuclear modeling demonstrates that the same high-energy event that created the image would have released a massive flux of neutrons, artificially aging the linen fibers and shifting the carbon date from the 1st century to the medieval period. The so-called error is actually the neutron signature of the event itself. Adding to the physical record, recent metagenomic DNA sequencing of the linen has identified human haplogroups prevalent in the Near East, alongside archaeal communities adapted to high salinity environments, matching a 1st century Levantine provenance. Crystallographic aging studies align with this timeline, placing the linen degradation profile alongside artifacts from the 1st century. Anatomical discoveries have also surfaced. Detailed analysis of high-resolution negatives reveals what appears to be the biting edges of the lower teeth visible through the closed lower lip. This suggests the energy burst functioned like a radiograph, originating from within the body and passing outward, rendering biological tissue temporarily transparent. The cloth did not wrap around a static corpse. It collapsed through a radiating form in transition. But the physical cloth is only the external witness. The internal architecture is found in the biblical text itself. English translations have long collapsed distinct Hebrew and Greek concepts into vague abstractions. The original languages separate the animating life cord from the deeper spiritual identity. In the Hebrew tradition, matter plus divine breath equals a living creature. The soul is not a detachable ghost inserted into flesh. It is the whole animated being. At death, the silver cord described in ancient wisdom literature loosens, severing the tether between spirit and flesh. At resurrection, that cord is propelled back into the host at transdimensional velocity. The friction of that metaphysical re-entry serves as the thermodynamic trigger for the vacuum ultraviolet burst recorded on the shroud. This is not metaphor. It is a functional interface. The tabernacle silver sockets, which held the veil between the holy place and the Holy of Holies, map directly onto this silver cord architecture. The human body is structured as a portable sanctuary. When the veil was torn, the interface remained. The partition was removed, and the physical form was consecrated to house and project divine radiant energy. The Apostle Paul described this transformation in precise terms. The body sown in corruption is raised in incorruption. The dishonorable vessel is raised in radiant glory. The weak biological machine is raised in dynamic power. The natural body, animated by the life cord, becomes a spiritual body, animated directly by the Spirit. The material is not discarded. It is hyperphysical. It dominates physical law rather than escaping it. This convergence is not merely theological or physical. It is statistically quantifiable. Over 15 months of rigorous testing, a cryptographic randomization protocol called SHIELD Protocol 14.0 has analyzed a fixed corpus of over 34,000 biblical verses. The system tracks multiple independent signal streams, including directional clarity, anomaly detection, and thematic convergence. In machine-controlled draws, the results settle into predictable baseline noise. But when guided by specific, prayer-directed inquiry, the protocol produces extreme statistical anomalies. Across 12 independent investigations into the resurrection, every draw returned an affirmative verdict. Sigma values peaked at 5.03, with convergence confidence thresholds repeatedly crossed. The mathematics consistently identifies the shroud, the burial linens, and the transphysical body as a single, coherent theological architecture. The data does not fluctuate. It locks. The framework reveals that glorification is not alchemical transmutation. It is covenantal consecration. Matter is transformed not by changing its intrinsic nature, but by being brought into alignment with its created purpose under divine appointment. It follows an agricultural pattern. A seed is buried, not to be destroyed, but to be raised in a different mode of existence, maintaining identity while shedding the old husk. It is relationally realized. Glory is not inherent radiance generated from within the self. It is the indwelling presence of the Holy One filling a consecrated vessel. This model resolves ancient theological tensions. It explains the zero state. If the silver cord is permanently severed through irrevocable rejection, the interface between creature and source is destroyed. The same sustaining light that transforms the consecrated vessel becomes the consuming fire that reduces the rejected vessel to non-existence. This is not universalism. It is an open creative economy. Infinite output is not diminished by finite loss. The shroud stands as the positive control. The zero state stands as the negative control. Together, they define the full operational range of the resurrection mechanism. This architecture was not only discovered in texts and statistics. It was witnessed phenomenologically. In a documented dream vision, a bare arm appeared, moving through a narrow field of view. It turned transparent, revealing internal structures composed not of flesh and blood, but of organized, multicolored light. The realization struck instantly. This was not a human arm. It was theophanic architecture. The vision matched the forensic record. The cloth collapsed through transparency. The teeth showed through the lips. The arm revealed vessels of luminous substance. One is external. One is internal. They triangulate the same reality. 13 draws. 13 affirmative verdicts. Extreme anomaly across the board. The physical witness records the radiation burst. The textual witness provides the architectural blueprint. The mathematical witness confirms the convergence. The matter is established. Resurrection is not a myth. It is not a ghost story. It is the documented transition of physical matter into glorified substance, captured in linen, predicted in Scripture, and verified by data. The mortal is not discarded but raised. The dust is not despised but brought to bow before the King. The teaching that enters the house is the one that follows the evidence to its destination. And the destination is clear. Elohim is light, and in him is no darkness at all.